Good morning, guys. At least morning for me. You're going to be watching this at any time, but it makes sense in my head. Here we go. Today we are working on the last section of this chapter, 2.5. We are talking about solving systems of inequalities. Okay, so that's not even correct up there. Inequalities, not equations. You can tell the difference because instead of an equal sign, we've got less than and greater than signs. So this is something you learned back in Algebra 1. I've just got some quick reminders up here on the top for you if you need them. Like before, we are still going to get y by itself if we're trying to graph it, and we're going to graph the line. So just like normal, we're going to graph lines. Here's the difference of the day. Today, if we have a greater than or equal to sign, or a less than or equal to sign. Okay, so like this with an underline, or like that with an underline. If there is a solid line underneath your inequality, you're equal to it, so we are going to graph a solid line. If we don't have a solid line underneath, like just a less than sign or just a greater than sign, then we are not going to include that line, okay, because that means that we are not actually equal to that line. It is a break in our graph, so we're going to use a dashed line to represent that. And then the last thing we have to do is understand where to shade inequalities. Okay, we can do test points, and there's some different things we can do with that. Here's what I always think about. This is a greater than sign. Okay, if you struggle with is it a greater than sign or a less than sign, we read it from this side to this side, and I always like to think of dots. On this side, there are 2 dots. On this side, there is 1, and so this side right here is greater than that side. Kind of silly, but that helps me out. So this is a greater than sign. This is a greater than sign. Since it is greater, when I think great, I think above. So we're going to shade above the line. This is a less than sign, because if I were to look at the dots, this side's got 1, that side's got 2. That's a less than sign. So if it's a less than sign, then we're going to shade below the line, and we're going to put those two together. And like this example up here, hey, we're greater than this, so that's why we have this purple shaded above the line. We are greater than negative x, that's this pink line, and so we shaded above that line. And so the actual answer to this question is the spot where both lines are shaded. That right there is the answer to this question. That is the place where you can pick any ordered pair up there, and it would be true. So for example, if I took this ordered pair right there, colors are rough right now, but if I took that ordered pair right there, that is the ordered pair 0, 2. That number right there is going to make both of these statements true. If I plug in 0, 2 is greater than 1, that's a true statement. And if I plug it in here, 2 is greater than 0, that is also true. If you put this number right here, it's not going to make it true because it's not in the right segment. Okay, but that's what we're trying to do here. All right, let's look at letter A. Y is less than or equal to 1/2 x minus 3. We're just going to do this step by step. Boom, 1/2 x minus 3. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to graph that. That's in the form of y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to negative 3. I have a slope of 1/2, so I'm going up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. There's a solid line underneath, so since there's a solid line underneath, I'm going to make a solid line. I'm going to make it blue. Boom. There's my first line. Solid because it's solid underneath. Then we have to think, what sign is this right here? Okay, that is a less than sign. Or in other words, if I pick a number less than that, it's going to make this statement true. So what that means is I want to shade below this line right here. I'm going to shade below it, shade below it. This right here is what is being described with that first equation. So if it only gave me that first equation, this would be my answer. But it's not. There's 2 inequalities here. So my second one is y is greater than 2x. So if I'm graphing y is greater than 2x, it's plus 0. So my y-intercept is 0. My slope is 2, so I'm going up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, down 2, left 1, down 2, left 1, down 2, left 1, and so on. It is not underlined. So since it is not underlined, I do not want to include these values, and so I'm going to make this a dashed line. This is a greater than sign. So greater means I want to shade above that line. So I want to shade above, 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 above. The only place where both of these things are true. So we shaded the blue line earlier, but I really want to know where both things are true. Below the blue and above the green, the only place where that's going to be true is this little baby spot right here. Oh no, I erased too much. It's this section, okay? This is the answer to my question. It's this region right here, and it's going to get bigger if I were to zoom out more, but that is where my answer is going to be true. If I took this ordered pair right here, -3, -5, and plugged it into both equations, it would work for both of them, but it's one of very few ordered pairs, at least on this graph, that would make that a true statement. Let's do it again. X plus 3y is less than 3. Minus x. We want to get y by itself in order to graph. Divide by 3, divide by 3, divide by 3. Y is less than -1/3 x plus 1. Let's graph it. Graph it in red there. So +1, so I'm right here. -1/3, down 1 over 3, down 1 over 3, up and to the left 3, up and to the left 3. Solid or dashed? I'm going to make it a dashed line. No solid line underneath, so I make it dashed. Next thing I have to worry about is above or below, since that sign right there is a less than sign. Since it's less than, I'm going to shade below that line. So this right here is what that first line is describing. That is not the answer, but that's the first part. Once we've done that, then we're going with the second one. X minus 2y is greater than or equal to 4. So we're going to solve. Minus x, -2y is greater than or equal to -x plus 4. Then don't forget this part. So this is something we've done in the past. But when you solve an inequality, and I need to divide by -2, divide by -2, divide by -2, if you divide an inequality by a negative sign. So we divided everything in the inequality by a negative sign. We flip the signs. Well, not only do we flip the signs on the y's and the x's, but we also have to flip the inequality sign. So this is going to be 1/2 x minus 2. When I divided by a negative, I had to flip my inequality. That would definitely be something you miss here. Don't do that. Cool. Let's graph this. -2. Slope is 1/2. Up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2. Down 1, left 2. Down 1, left 2. Down 1, left 2. Solid or dashed line? It's a solid line because there's a solid line underneath. Boom. There's that line. This is a less than sign. So since it's a less than sign, I'm going to shade below it. So I'm shading below the purple line. So if I'm shading below the purple line, let's make that a little bigger so I don't have to do this for an hour. Oh no. Oh no, don't look. Let's try this again. Yay. This section right here, I would shade all of the stuff underneath the purple line. So which place do I actually want? Well, you can see my colors did a nice job there, but it is the green section. This spot right here is what I actually want for my answer because it's below both lines. That was the goal. That's it. Don't make it a lot harder than that. It's just a matter of doing it over and over again. Let's look at another one. Y is greater than or equal to 1. So y equals, it is a y line. There's just a y and a number. So if you remember, a y line is going to cross the y-axis. So I'm going to go where y is 1, and I'm going to draw a horizontal line. It's going to be a solid line because it's solid underneath. It's greater than 1. So if it's greater than 1, I'm shading above it. I'm just going to draw arrows because I think this one's going to get pretty ugly because there's so many equations going on. But I'm shading above that line. Y is greater than 1. Cool. X is less than or equal to 6. All right, well, this is going to cross the x-axis because it's an x equals line. I'm going to 6 right here, and I'm going to draw a vertical line through x is less than or equal to 6. It's less than. So normally we think above or below. This is the only time when we don't say above or below. If it's less than and we have a vertical line, where do you think you have to shade if you're less than and it's a vertical line? You're going to shade to the left. So I want to shade to the left of that line. So think about that so far. I want to be above the red but left of the purple. So right now, my answer is going to live in this spot right here because I'm above the red, left of the vertical line. That's where my answer is going to live. That's not my answer yet, but that's where it's going to live. Last one says y is less than 2x minus 5. So I'm going to graph that. The negative 5 is my y-intercept. The 2 is my slope, so I'm up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2. Boom, boom, boom. It is not a solid line because it's not underlined underneath. It's a less than or equal to sign. So I'm going to make that dashed. There's that one. And this one I want to be less than. So if I want to be less than that line, I want to shade below it. So think about that. We said we wanted to be up in this little rectangle right here, but I want to be less than the blue line. So my answer, the place that I want to highlight for this graph, is this baby little triangle right here. It's above the red. It's above the horizontal line. It's left of the vertical line, and it's below my slanted line. All of that to give me that little baby spot right there. That's what I was looking for. Try one more. X is greater than or equal to 0, so it's an x equals line. That's going to be this thing right here. Horizontal line that's going to cross. Just playing. Just playing. Don't listen to me. It's going to be a vertical line. I screw it up too. It's a vertical line because it's x. It's got to cross the x-axis. I'm doing greater than 0. So if I'm greater than 0, I'm over here to the right. Okay. Over there to the right. I'm going to just draw some little baby arrows so I don't get too ugly here because sometimes it can get pretty rough. The next one. Y is greater than or equal to 0. Well, y is a horizontal line. Boom. Right there. It's greater than, so I'm shading above it. So I'm above, I'm up here, I'm up here. All right, so I want to be up here, up here, up here. So I want my answer to be in that first quadrant. Then I got to solve this. So I'm going to subtract 4x. Subtract 4x. Anytime I want to graph a line, I always want to get y by itself. Divide by 3, divide by 3, divide by 3. Y is less than or equal to negative 4/3 x plus 24 divided by 3. That's 8. I'm going to go up to 8. I've got negative 4/3, so down 1, 2, 3, 4 over 3. Down 1, 2, 3, 4 over 3. There is my line right there. I want to be less than or equal to, it was a solid line, less than or equal to, that means I want to be below the purple line. Boom. This is the section that I want, above the other two, or to the right of the other two, and below that one. I get that little pretty triangle that's going on there. Hopefully that makes sense. We're understanding what we're doing here. Again, not a whole lot different. We're thinking solid or dashed and above or below. I'll do one more here just because it is a little bit tricky. I want to make sure we're all on the same page. Divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. Negative x plus 4. Slope is negative 1, so I'm down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. Hit the dash line. It is less than, so I'm shading down here. So this is the region I'm referring to with the first problem. Second one, divide by 4, divide by 4, divide by 4. Those are ugly 4s. Sorry about that. 1/4 x minus 2. So I'm down here at minus 2. 1/4, so I'm going up 1 over 4, up 1 over 4. It is equal to, so I'm drawing a solid line here. Oh my, act like that. Oh, thank you. It saved me. And then we are greater than that line. So if I'm less than the black line and greater than the green line, we know where our answer is going to live. It's going to live right in this region right here. Solving systems. Again, remember what we're doing here. What this does is it allows us to pick all of these ordered pairs basically at once. Every one of these ordered pairs in this shaded region is going to make both of these statements true. So if you want to say, hey, am I in the right section? Pick an ordered pair. If I picked the ordered pair 0, 0, and I plugged in 0 here, I would get 0 plus 0 is less than 8. Yeah, that's a true statement. If I plugged in 0 here, it'd be 0 is greater than or equal to 0 minus 8. Is 0 greater than or equal to negative 8? Yeah, that's a less than sign. A greater than sign. Yeah, that's a true statement. And so that section is going to house all of the ordered pairs that'll make this true. If I picked this ordered pair, it's not in the correct section. It's not going to make it true. That's what we're doing with systems of inequalities. Hopefully that makes some sense to you. Let me know if you have questions. Thanks, guys.